So you just woke up and you know you have a lot to do today, but you don't really know where to start. You're jumping from task to task without a real plan or strategy. And so you're feeling unproductive, overwhelmed, inefficient, and distracted, and quite frankly, a little bit annoyed with yourself because now it's the end of the day, you have an hour left, and you feel like you didn't really get anything done. It happens to the best of us, but I believe with a little bit of planning, you can create a schedule that you own and doesn't own you. And in this video, I'm going to show you my hacks to staying focused and achieving your weekly goals. All right, so I'm going to walk you through step by step what I do exactly to plan out my week. So here are a couple of things that you might want to use if you want to follow along. Pen, a few different colored markers, a blank sheet of paper, and then a planner. I highly suggest picking a day of the week that you want to sit down for maybe 30 minutes to plan out the upcoming week. So I usually do this on a Saturday or a Sunday. So the first thing I do is I start with my blank piece of paper and a pen. And what I do is I just do a brain dump of everything I think I'm going to need to do for the week coming up. I just let it all out on the paper and just dump it all out. And that kind of helps me release the stress in a way, because it's like I don't have to try to categorize things in my brain and organize things just yet. I just need to figure out what is it that I even need to do first. All right, so I've got my blank piece of scrap paper here, and I'm gonna go ahead and brain dump anything that comes to mind that I know I need to do for next week. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my dates at the top so I know which week I'm talking about. My weeks I do from Monday to Saturday. I don't work on Sundays. And another way you can kind of divide this up is your to-dos versus your meetings. So I'm going to go ahead and start with things that I know I need to do and differentiate that from what I know are like meetings or appointments. Okay, now comes the fun part, because we get to bring in our colors here. So I just chose a couple colors because we're getting ready to divide our tasks here into different categories, grouping them so that we know what things relate to one another. So for example, anything that has to do with Beano, I'll put in orange, and I differentiate Beano from Shop Beano, because Shop Beano is my business and Beano is more so a community. So anyway, that's just how I categorize it in my brain. So let's just look through and see what are things that have to do with Beano. So social content plan for Beano, okay, that will be orange. So just put a little dot here to signify that this is in relation to that. And then what are some other things that go along with it? Apply Pinterest webinar tips. So that has to do with Beano because it's social media for Beano Bible study. So we'll make that in orange, and I'll keep going and figuring all that out. Okay, so now that I have my colors, I'm going to kind of define them for myself just so I know what each thing is. So orange, I said is going to be Beano things. Yellow, I'll say Shop Beano. Blue is kind of like side projects, things that I'm testing out. And then I'm going to call purple. Purple is like these mentorship meetings. I'm going to go ahead and make those personal development. I'm just reaching out and networking. And then I made these purple because this is cleaning out my closet, typing book notes. So those are things that'll help develop me as a person. So I'm just going to call it personal development. If anything has due dates, you'll go ahead and want to write those down. So just kind of assess. Not everything will have a due date, but things that have a hard deadline, or especially these meetings and appointments where you know what time and what day they're going to be, just fill that out. Next, it's time to assess how long each thing will take. This is a really important step because it's going to help keep you on track and it's going to help reduce overwhelm and make sure that you can even accomplish all of these things in 1 week. You might have too many things in your brain that you're dumping out, and maybe they need to be split up into 2 separate weeks. So this is just a check to see, okay, how much is all this gonna take? How much time? So I'm gonna go ahead and assign a number to each of these things and kind of just guess, do my best to guess how long it'll take me to do each thing. Okay, so next you want to get a calculator or your phone or whatever and figure out how many hours all this equals, because that'll let you know, okay, if I would try to work 20 hours a day, or if I work 40 hours, not 20 hours a day, if my goal is to work 20 hours a week or 40 hours a week or whatever it is that your work week looks like, you want to make sure that all this fits within that time frame, and that you have space left over in case things don't go to plan the way you want them to, or something comes up. So I'm going to go ahead and calculate everything and then let you know what my number is. So I just did the calculations and my number is 23. And I work for myself, so my schedule can kind of be how I want it to be. And I typically, start working at like 10 and I work until like 5. So if I have a 7-hour day and I'm working pretty much 6 days of the week, I'm working 42 hours in a week. And this all totals up to 23, which means that I have plenty of space left over in case I need to make room for adjustments, or in case, my social media content planning goes over an hour, So like, you want to have some wiggle room, and this is giving me plenty of wiggle room. All right, so now we can bring out our planner, and I already have my week here listed out, and I've already started to put in some of the things that have dates. So that's what you want to start with, things that have a place, like it's happening Monday at 11. Put those on there. Put your meetings and appointments on here first. And I kind of box those off and separate them from my to-do, so I can see, okay, this is clearly an appointment. You don't have to do it that way, but I just like to do it. And you can also kind of put down things that have due dates. Put those in there first, and then start to fill everything in as you go along. All right, so I finished transferring everything over, and now I'm just gonna kind of glance at it and make sure it all lines up. It's really best, another tip, to make sure that you don't have more than like 2, maximum 3 different kind of categories happening on the same day, because that will help with focus. If you can just focus on maybe dividing your day in half. I'll do these related tasks in the morning, and then this second kind of category of tasks in the afternoon. Here is what I finished with. I'm going to go ahead and just calculate the hours for each thing. And remember, I don't want to work more than 7 hours a day for my schedule, so there's plenty of wiggle room on each day. You want to leave, at least like an hour if you can, or more, so that if any of these things run over, you're already covered, or if something new comes into the picture that you didn't expect, you have that wiggle room. None of these are at 7 hours capacity each day yet, and if you can, you want to keep it that way. So this is my finished schedule, and now I know exactly what I want to do each day I wake up this week. It's clearly outlined, and I should be feeling focused and ready to tackle the day. So now that we have a roadmap of what our week is going to look like, we can really talk about this focus conversation, because in order to really be able to focus, you have to have a goal in mind. So now we know our goals. Now we can talk about what are some tips to stay focused and actually achieve those goals. So the first tip is to set a timer. We've assigned hours to each of our tasks so that we know about how long it will take. So that's not for nothing. When you get to that task, pull out your phone, set your timer for that amount of time that you dedicated to do that thing. And you can always adjust if you need more time, but you do want to generally follow that. I also just came across a new app, well, it's not necessarily new, but it's new to me, called Toggle, which is another way that you can track your time and you can bucket it according to different projects and things. So I've only used it a couple times, but so far I like it. My second focus tip is to make sure that you schedule in breaks. Scheduling maybe 15-minute breaks twice a day, one in the morning, one in the afternoon, is going to help you break up your day a little bit. And of course you'll have a lunch break, but those extra 2 15-minute breaks can be used to just stretch your legs, walk around, scroll on social media if you need to do that, whatever it is to kind of like step away from your work and then come back refreshed. Tip 3 is to just eliminate distractions. Our phone is obviously a huge distraction for us, so we can put it on the other side of the room where we have to physically get up if we need to see it. We could just turn it off completely. We can put it on airplane mode. It depends on what your work is. You might need to use your phone, but there are certain blocks of time where we might not need it, and so we can just put it on the other side of the room, hide it in a drawer, do whatever we gotta do so that it's not easily accessible and easy to get distracted by. And fourth tip is to select the right playlist. I think music can play a really foundational role in focus. I know it has for me. Having the right playlist can really get you in the zone. And obviously some music can be distracting, but others actually enable you to be more focused. One of them that comes to mind is called Binaural Beats on Spotify, and I can link that below, but it takes you through like different sequences. I don't know the exact language for it, but if you don't put it on shuffle and you actually listen to it in order, it's created to like take you to peak focus. It's super nice to be able to wake up each day and know exactly what I need to do for that day. And it feels even better to actually accomplish those things. I know that my weeks have definitely improved. I feel way more productive. I feel more efficient. I feel less frustrated at myself when I actually have a plan and I'm able to follow it. And again, plans aren't meant to be like this super rigid in stone thing. They're plans, and obviously things will inevitably come up throughout the week that you didn't anticipate, but that's why it's important to build in margin in your planner and in your schedule like we went over, so that when those things happen, you've already planned for that, so you still should be able to, for the most part, accomplish everything you wanted to accomplish. So I hope that this video helped you guys, and hopefully you'll give it a try and it'll work for you like it's worked for me. See you in the next one.